Adam alayhi salam, the father of humanity, the first human being. Adam was created from clay, and after his creation, Adam was granted knowledge and wisdom by Allah. He resided in paradise with his wife Hawa. They lived together in paradise until Shaitan deceived them to eat from the tree, which resulted them being expelled from heaven to the earth. Despite their mistake, Heaven and Hawa repented sincerely, seeking Allah's forgiveness. Their repentance serves as a mile for humanity, emphasizing the importance of acknowledging our mistakes, seeking forgiveness, and striving for righteousness. Idris alayhi salam. Idris was the first one to write with the pen, and he was the one who taught people to write. He came as a prophet to help stop sin and call people away from acts of corruption, such as the zina and killing. Nuh alayhi salam. At the time of Nuh alayhi salam, idolatry and shirk spread so much that it became a common action. Nuh was sent to spread monotheism, tawheed. Nuh alayhi salam was ridiculed and laughed at for a very long time. Some sources say that he lived up to 950 years. Nuh is mainly known for building the ark that stored and saved all the animals and all the believers of the earth from the flood that covered the whole earth. Hud alayhi salam. Hud was sent to the people of Ad. The people of Ad, they're very clever and talented craftsmen. They carved huge mansions with beautiful pillars on top of the mountains. As time went on, the people of Ad grew richer and more powerful, and this resulted in their arrogance. Hud's mission was to remind them that Allah is the reason for their success. But most people of Ad ignored the message. Allah then told Hud to take his closest companions and leave the city, as Allah sent strong winds as a punishment, and these winds were so powerful that they even destroyed the biggest mansions that they built. Saleh alayhi salam. Saleh was sent to the people of Thamud. The people of Thamud were living inside mountains where they carved homes for themselves. Saleh was sent to spread oneness of God. The people of Thamud demanded a sign from God. They asked for a she-camel that would come from inside of a rock and that would be so huge that it could drink the water from the well in a single day. And this is exactly what happened, by the will of Allah. Although some troublemakers from the people of Thamud killed the she-camel, even though Allah warned not to hurt the camel, and because of this act, they were punished. Ibrahim alayhi salam. Ibrahim was a curious and clever kid. Already from a young age, he started questioning why the people were worshipping idols when they themselves created them. As a prophet, Ibrahim warned the people to stop idol worshipping, but the people didn't listen. So one day he decided to break the statues and leave the biggest one with an axe that he used to destroy the rest of the statues. When the people of the city saw this, they were frustrated. Ibrahim told them to ask the statue what happened, and obviously the people couldn't. Ibrahim then proved how ridiculous their belief was, which frustrated them even more, so they decided to punish him. They decided to burn Ibrahim in the biggest possible bonfire. For their surprise, when they lit the fire, Allah protected Ibrahim from the fire and he walked out of it without any injuries. This was a clear miracle from Allah sent to these people. Ibrahim had a wife named Sarah. Time went and they realized that Sarah couldn't have children, so Sarah offered Ibrahim to marry a female servant named Hajar. Ibrahim and Hajar had a son named Ismail. Later on, Allah blessed Ibrahim and Sarah with a son named Ishaq. But let's return to Ibrahim and Ismail for now. Allah instructed Ibrahim to leave Ismail al-Hajar in the desert. Allah provided Hajar and Ismail his protection and prosperity while Ibrahim was away. After years went by, Ibrahim returned to Mecca. Allah then ordered Ibrahim and Ismail to build the Kaaba. The Prophet Ibrahim ﷺ had a series of dreams where he was being instructed to sacrifice his beloved son Ismail ﷺ. He was deeply disturbed by the dreams, so he told this to his son Ismail ﷺ. Prophet Ismail comforted his father and encouraged him to follow the commands of Allah. Once on Mount Arafat, Prophet Ibrahim decided to blindfold himself while he carried out the slaughter, so to ease his own pain. When Ibrahim ﷺ removed his blindfold, he saw that by the divine grace of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Ismail was safe beside him, and Aaron lay in the place of his son. We remember that sacrifice every year celebrating Eid al-Adha. Lut alayhi salam. Lut was sent to the people of Sodom. The city was corrupt and had highest criminal activity, but the sin that they were known for was homosexuality. No one in the history of mankind had ever practiced homosexuality before Sodom. Once 3 angels came to Lut's house in form of attractive men. Lut invited them to his house since he didn't want them to go to the city. His non-Muslim wife then ran to the city to inform them that Lut had 3 attractive men in his house. The men gathered at Lut's doorstep, but the angels revealed themselves and struck the men. Allah then told Lut to take his daughters and leave the city of Sodom. The next morning, Allah sent a punishment that destroyed the city, the people, and the wife of Lut alayhi salam. Ishaq alayhi salam. Ishaq was the son of Ibrahim and Sarah. All the prophets that came after this, except for Muhammad, peace be upon him, and Shuaib alayhi salam, were from the lineage of Ishaq alayhi salam. Ishaq was also the father of Yaqub. Yaqub alayhi salam. Yaqub, also known as Israel. Prophet Yaqub was the father to 12 sons. The first 10 were born to his first wife, while Prophet Yusuf and his brother Benjamin were born to his second wife. The 12 sons made up the original 12 tribes of Banu Israel. Yusuf's brothers were jealous of him, so one day they decided to throw him into a well. They then staged his death and told their father Yaqub that wolf had attacked Yusuf and he passed away. Yaqub didn't believe them, but placed trust to Allah to reunion him with his son in the future. Yusuf was able to get out of the well, but became a slave. The slave owner was nice to Yusuf and treated him like his own son. But the wife of the owner wasn't so nice and got Yusuf imprisoned. Later on, the king of Egypt saw an odd grain and asked his people the meaning of it. One guy advised him to ask Yusuf alayhi salam. Prophet Yusuf interpreted the dream by the power given to him by Allah. This act and trustworthiness of Yusuf gained the respect of the king and put Yusuf in charge of the land. Later on, he reunited with his brothers and father Yaqub, who was very patient. Ayub alayhi salam. Ayub was called the best creature on earth in his time. This got Iblis very jealous, so he told Allah that Ayub would forget him if he would make him suffer. Allah knew he is one of the most sincere worshippers, so he gave permission to Iblis to test Ayub. First Iblis took his wealth, then his children, and lastly made him very sick. All these struggles, but Ayub never forgot to pray to Allah, and this devoutness resulted Allah to return him his health and give him more children and wealth. Shuaib alayhi salam. Shuaib was sent to the people of Madian. They were greedy people who scammed and were dishonest. Shu'aib preached his message for very long, but most of the people of Madian were stubborn and didn't accept Islam. So Allah then punished the people of Madian. Musa alayhi salam. Musa was put into basket and placed into Nile River by the order of Allah. He was then picked by Pharaoh's wife and raised with them. When Musa grew up, he accidentally killed a slave abuser. In result, he had to leave Egypt. While away from Egypt, he married. After 8 years that he promised to the father of his wife, he wanted to return to Egypt. On the way to Egypt, in the Mount Tur, Allah spoke to Musa directly and told him to speak with Pharaoh. Musa then asked Allah to reunite him with his brother Harun alayhi salam, since he was better at giving speeches. The two brothers went to Pharaoh and spread the message. This made Pharaoh mad, but Musa said he could prove the existence of Allah. He threw a stick and it turned into a snake. Pharaoh then summoned magicians who also threw their sticks and made the illusion of snakes. But Musa's snake swallowed the other snakes, which shocked the magicians. The magicians then embraced Islam on the spot. This got Pharaoh very furious. Musa then asked Pharaoh to release the slaves, but he refused. Allah then sent signs one by one. First, Allah sent severe drought, which resulted in a severe famine. This drought was followed by flood. The second sign Allah sent was a swarm of locusts, which devoured their crops. This was followed by plagues that spread across the land. And finally, as the final sign, Allah turned the river Nile into blood. But Pharaoh still didn't relieve the slaves. So the brothers and Israelites planned on to escaping from Egypt. When the word got to Pharaoh, Musa and the followers were already escaping. The Pharaoh and his army had horses, so they were catching up to Moses. In front of Moses was the sea, and behind an army. So Musa asked Allah to help him. And by the will of Allah, Musa split the sea, and the followers were able to cross the sea. The sea then returned into its original form, which resulted Pharaoh and his army drowning in the sea. Dhul Kifl alayhi salam. There is not that much known about Dhul Kifl, but from the two verses that talk about Dhul Kifl, we can come to a conclusion that he was among the righteous. Dawood alayhi salam. King Talut led an army against Jalut's army. Jalut was a huge, strong warrior who exuded an aura of fear. Jalut challenged any soldier to a one-on-one combat against him. Everyone from Talut's side was terrified except for Prophet Dawood alayhi salam. Dawood wasn't the biggest nor the strongest, and for that reason everyone laughed at him. But Dawood convinced the king, and by the help of Allah, Dawood defeated Jalut with only a sling and a few pebbles. This raised Dawood into status of hero in the eyes of the people. And after the death of King Talut, Dawood was chosen as a king by the people. Sulaiman alayhi salam. Sulaiman was the son of Dawood alayhi salam. The kingdom that Dawood ruled was passed on to Sulaiman after the death of Dawood. Sulaiman was materialistically rich, which many could view as a blessing. But this was also a test from Allah. When people gain wealth and control, they can become arrogant, as Pharaoh did. But Sulaiman stayed humble and on the right path. Sulaiman had also the ability to speak to animals and jinns. Ilyas alayhi salam. Ilyas was sent to the people that worshipped an idol called Baal. The idol worshippers mostly persisted on this belief and were punished. On the other hand, the ones who followed Ilyas were rewarded. Ilyasa alayhi salam. Ilyasa falls into a category of prophets of whom is little information to be known. Other two prophets who also fall into this category are Ilyas and Dhul Kifl. But from the two ayats Ilyasa is mentioned, we see that Quran speaks highly of him. Yunus alayhi salam. Yunus was sent to the people of Nineveh. These people were idol worshippers. Yunus spread the message of Islam, but the people didn't listen. So Yunus warned the people of the punishment of Allah. They answered with, "Let it happen." So Prophet Yunus fled the city. When Allah was about to punish the people, and the people saw the power of Allah, they immediately repented and embraced Islam. This is the only time when Prophet's entire community embraced Islam. Yunus, that had fled away, ended up in the ocean where he was swallowed by a whale. Yunus understood that he made a mistake by abandoning his people and repented to Allah. So Allah then ordered the whale to spit Yunus at the nearest shore. Zakaria alayhi salam. Zakaria was related to Maryam. When Maryam, the daughter of Imran and the mother of Isa alayhi salam, was a child, her father Imran had passed away, so a father figure was needed. Zakaria alayhi salam stepped into this position. He took care of Maryam at her young age. One day, Zakaria made dua to Allah for him to have a kid, and Allah blessed him with a son named Yahya. Yahya alayhi salam. From a young age, Yahya sought knowledge. Whilst the other kids were playing, he was gaining knowledge, and when he grew up, he became the wisest man of his time. Yahya was humble and loved nature, especially the animals. Also, Yahya is a cousin of Isa alayhi salam. Isa alayhi salam, also known as Jesus in Christianity, was born miraculously from her virgin mother Maryam. Unlike in Christianity, Isa is not considered as the son of God, but as a prophet. After Yahya was killed, Isa alayhi salam received his first revelation and was commanded to preach the truth. Isa alayhi salam also performed miracles, as curing blindness, making a dead bird come alive, talking as a baby, and giving life to dead. Isa alayhi salam opposed the Jewish religion and conveyed the truth. By time, Isa alayhi salam had many followers, which frustrated and made some high-position Jews nervous, so they plotted against him and crucified him. Or that's what it was appeared to be, because Allah raised Isa alayhi salam to heaven, and it was made to appear that Isa alayhi salam was crucified. Muhammad, peace be upon him, the final messenger and the last prophet, he was the son of Abdullah and Amina. Unfortunately, his parents died when he was a child, so he lived with his uncle Abdul Talib. When he grew up, he married Khadija. Later on, he had more wives and children. When he was 40, he got his first revelation in Cave Hira. Here begins his prophethood. When he started giving dawah to the people of Mecca, people in high positions got very angry. People from his tribe including. The people tried to humiliate Muhammad, tried to hurt him, but his belief in Allah was stronger. The persecution got so severe that Muslims left to Ethiopia and later immigrated to Medina, which is also known as Hijrah. The Arabs didn't want Muslims to spread Islam, so they waged a war on them, and this resulted in big battles. Battle of Badr, and then followed by Battle of Uhud. Few years before his death, he conquered Mecca and forgave the people who persecuted Muslims for years. Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was an ordinary man, an example to the whole humanity, to the Muslims. His mannerism, etiquette, and decisions were the best of a kind. There is so much more to know about every single prophet, especially Prophet Muhammad. His life story is truly inspirational, and will make you fall in love with him and his personality.